Hello guys, and welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. So in today's video we're going to learn how to make this flounce sleeve, so you can see how it came out at the end of the day. So I'll show you guys how to layer it properly. So this is what we are going to learn how to do today. It is a simple process, not very simple I would say. Yes, not very simple, but with watching it you'll be able to do this. So this is what we're going to learn how to do today. So let's get started straight into our tutorial for today. So the first thing, I got a chantilly lace. So this is a stronger type of chantilly. So I just bought 1 yard. A part of it is stretchy and the other part is not very stretchy. So the first thing I'm going to do is for us to cut out a long straight sleeve. So in cutting out a long straight sleeve, I'm going to fold it, use my armhole measurement to fold it. So from that point, I'll mark the length of my sleeve. So I think I used about 23 to 24 inches thereabout for the full length of the sleeve. So that's the full length of the sleeve. And then the next thing, I came down from the edge. I came down by 5 inches to create a curve. So like I said, I folded my fabric at 12 inches. So I'll curve it in like that. Just use my pattern curve to create a curve that way, so you can see. And then the next thing, after creating that curve, I'm going to take the width of my sleeve. That's how wide I want it to be. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to come to this bicep area. So from that point to the bicep area is around 9 inches. That's from the top. So from that point, I'm going to place my round sleeve measurement. That's the bicep area. Please subscribe if you have not done so to my channel. So I'll place the measurement, divide that into 2 and place it. And then the wrist area, I used about 6 inches thereabout for that down part. So after that, I'm going to curve this in, and then we are done with our sleeve. So after that, I'll just cut out the straight sleeve. So this is now the straight sleeve. So for our flounce, I took out my piece of fabric. So I used 2 yards of fabric, but I divided it into two half inches. So this is half inches. So I folded it into 4 and then mark the center. So at this point now, you see it is folded into 2. So when you mark the center, so from the center, just start creating like a circle. Can you see how I am just using my sleeve, my hand? I'm using a free hand. So just create a center. So from that center point that I marked, I measured how many inches. I have 4 inches. I have about 5 inches, not 4 inches. So from that point, I'll just be marking it round like this. So I actually did not want to cut the whole 2 yards. So I divided it half inches into 4. You understand? Then that 4, that shared my 2 yards into 4 pieces, and then I started doing it this way. So this one that I'm doing now, this is half yard, and the half yard is still folded into 2 because I need the fabric to do the lining. So that is why I placed it this way. So you can see I'm just curving it, and then you check the width of the flounce if it is what you want. You understand? If it is not wide enough, you can open up your hands a little bit. If it is too big, you can reduce your hand. So basically from that center, just start creating like a round circle. So you can see just the way I did it initially. Just keep curving it that way. Okay, so after that, you can see that's how easy it is to create out a flounce. So I'll take that middle point, I'll just put a hole at that middle point. If you don't want to fold your fabric, you can do it 1-1. You can still do it 1-1. So it depends on what you want. So after that, I'm just going to follow the spiral markings that I marked on the fabric, and then I'm going to cut it out this way. So you can see the way I am cutting it out right now. So just follow. So at this point, since I saw that the fabric has gotten to the edge, so I just opened out my hands a little bit just to increase the wideness of the flounce that I'm cutting out at this point. So that is it. So if you want to, your full 2 yards, you can do your full 2 yards. That you can just fold it like into two and then cut it this way. You can fold it one self. You can just leave it straight, depends on what you want, you understand. But everything just follow. You saw the way I was doing the spiral curves. So once you follow it, once you are able to do the spiral curve properly, you will see you create your flounce. It's a simple creating of the flounce is a simple process. So at this point I was just trying to trim the side that is not looking straight. Okay, and then you can see, so you can see that the flounce, it came out fine, you can see. So that's how simple it is. You don't need to, it's not rocket science. Cutting out a flounce is not a rocket science. So that's it. So it's better for you to cut it short like this. So it depends, but if you want for long dresses, don't cut it short. You to use the whole 2 inch 2 yards. So for this, the crinoline I'm using is about 3 inches. So now you know my fabric, I folded them into two, so it is cut together already. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'll place the two of them together, right side of my fabric facing right side, and then the crinoline will be on top of it. You understand? So the two fabric, the right side, let them face each other, and then you place the crinoline on top of the up on the is on the wrong side. So and then you start stitching it down at the edge. Just follow the edge of it. So I'm going to explain it again. Take the two flounce, the right side, that's the good side, let them face each other, and then you now place this crinoline on top of it. That's, you can see the crinoline is on top of the two that are facing each other, the two right side. The right side is inside now at this point, okay, while the crinoline is on top on the wrong side. So you will stitch it till the end. So after stitching to the end, you are going to open this up now. When you open it up, you are going to push, just trim out every small excess you have, but don't trim the crinoline, because if not it will be poking out. Okay, so just trim the fabric, leave the crinoline, don't cut the crinoline. So at this point now we want to top stitch it. You understand? So in order to top stitch it, let me explain it before I get there. You are going to open up, like butterfly it open, and then from you push the crinoline to, you can see, so you push the crinoline to one side. You understand? And then that is allowance, that stitching allowance that we did, you can see. So you see I push the crinoline now to my left hand side, and then that stitching allowance, I'm going to stitch it on the left hand side. So that left hand side now, obviously that's my lining piece. Understand? So I'm just using that one. I will now be using it to secure the crinoline on this tiny, you remember that tiny allowance where you join it. You understand? So that is what I am doing at this point. So I'm just stitching it down. So just flip the crinoline to one side, and then you will be stitching it down like that. Okay, so for my piece is a little bit smaller than the original picture. The original picture one is bigger, so that one I think they use about 6 inches. So you can see after stitching, you can see what I'm trying to do. You are going to push it in, that's push it now. The lining piece now will not be under, and then you give it a good press, because if you don't press it, it will not lay. So you press it, so you can see how it is looking. Yes, after pressing, looks good now and okay. Because of the crinoline that is inside, you can actually manipulate it however you want. Okay, so at this point now, what I want to do, I want to seal all the edges, because the kind of what I want to do is not the one that I need rough edges. So I'll take the side of my sleeve like this, that's the flounce, and then I'm pushing it in. Yes, so I realized my hands were off camera, so I pushed it in like this, just to make sure that I am covering the whole edges. You understand? I'll stitch it that way, and then after that, this is the other long edges. So that other long edge, I'm just going to like roll fold it. You understand? So I'm going to roll fold it. Like I said, I don't want any stitching, I don't want any rough part. That is, I don't want the rough edges to come out, because crinoline, it can choke somebody, that's it pokes. So you need to cover it up. So at this point I was covering everything up to make sure that it is sealed inside. So these are all of my pieces. So like I said, I used 2 yards, so these are all of the 2 yards of the that I used, and I cut them like I told you, I divided them. Okay, so now take my sleeve, and then I'm going to mark where I want, where my round sleeve measurement got to. So my that's my round sleeve measurement. For instance, if your round sleeve is 11, that's 22, you put a notch there at that point. You understand? If your round sleeve measurement is 20, which is 10, you put a notch, because you don't want to sew it, you don't want to exceed that part. If not, it will be wasted. So this whole part now, I'm going to sew that crinoline to that edge like that. So when I sew it to that point, from there I'm going to sew it on the fabric piece. Okay, so I'm going to just use my pins to explain. So this is what I was trying to do. So I'll stitch this crinoline now. This is the right side of my sleeve, you understand? No, I'm not sewing it on the wrong side, it's the right side. So I'm going to sew this to the edge of my sleeve, that's the sleeve piece. So that is what I'm trying to use my pins to indicate here. So I'm just going to place it that way. So I'll just keep placing it until I'll get to the point where I notch. But that point where I notch, I'm not going to put it directly. I'm going to do it a little bit before I get to the notch point, because that notch point is exactly where I'm going to stitch when I'm joining my sleeve together. Okay, so at this point, after getting it to that point, I'm going to come in so you can see what I'm trying to do. So that line, now I want to mark where my sleeve got to. So I marked 11 inches from that down part, that's from the wrist. I marked 11 inches. So at this point, I was just trying to pin it to see what I want. Okay, so I'll pin it up to this point. So like I said, for this, it's good for you to divide your flounce. With that, you'll be able to arrange it properly. If it was one long piece, it will be difficult. So now I'm going to sew that. I'll get to that point, I'll stop. I did not finish it, sewing it. So I'm going to show you guys how to sew this. So it is a very manipulative way. You understand, when you are sewing this, you have to manipulate the piece. You are not just going to sew it straight. If you sew it straight like that, it will not stand. So you need to be manipulating it as you are sewing it. You'll be using your hand, you'll be checking it to make sure that it is standing. If it is not standing, you will jump it and sew the other part of it. Okay, so at this point I noticed that like the thing was going to go flat. So you can see, you can, if you notice now, so I've stopped at that point. I did not sew it up to the end. You can see, can you see now? You know, you remember initially I was sewing the inside. Now you can see I'm sewing the back. You understand? So that's how you be sewing it. You sew inside, sew outside, sew inside. Anything that will just make it to stand. Because if you continue sewing it on the inside straight like that, it might become flat. But you sew it inside, so you can see, after everything, this is our first piece. So the next thing, I'm going to mark where I want my second piece to be. So like I said, that was why I said it is a manipulative sewing. So you are the one that will manipulate your flounce however you want. Because of the crinoline that is inside, it will work. Okay, so you can see, so I've marked that point. So now I'm going to take this one, and then I am going to stitch. I'm just going to, can you see? So I'm going to stitch it that way and then get it up to that point like that. So that's the second one. I still have another piece. So I'm going to pin it down. So to make sure that I am starting it from the right point. Okay. So at this point, like I said, just manipulate it however you want to manipulate it for it to stay and for it to stick. So I'll take it. So this, you can see that other part that I left for the first one. So I'll pin that center one. I'll just pin it and check. If I like what I have, I'll go and stitch it. But if I don't like what I am seeing, I'll continue to check it. Okay. So I'll go and stitch. So after this, so I just want to show you guys again the manipulative method. So you can see this one now. I'm going to start stitching it from the front part. So like I said, I can, if I sew a little bit from the front like this, I'll turn it. I'll like flip the, not turning it to the back. Oh, I'll just like flip the flounce. That's, I'll press the flounce down and then stitch it at the back. So everything that I'm doing, I'm just trying to make sure that the sleeve, so you can see what I'm doing. Can you see the way I pressed it down? I just carried my footer and climbed across. You can see now, you can see I am stitching it at the back now. At this point, I'm stitching it at the back now. So when I stitch it to a point again, I'll press it down, then flip my, and then bring it to the front back again to continue to stitch it. Okay. Okay, so the next thing, you are just going to, so like I said, you just keep manipulating it back and forth until you are you are done with the whole piece. Okay, so that's me struggling to really secure it down, to make sure that it is staying well and it is standing, you understand. So just keep manipulating it like that until you are done with the piece. So now I came back to the front side again. So after everything, so you can see how it is looking. Okay, so after everything, so this is the last piece, the remaining one. So I'm just going to take it like that and push it inside. So just look for a better way how it will stay, and then just like place it inside and then follow the same process and secure it down. Okay, so just sew it and sew it down up to that point like that. And then this is the other piece, so just sew it and then make sure everything is laying the way you want. So you can actually just turn it however you want to turn it. Okay, so after everything, this is, here is how it looks. So the next thing now, I want to join the sleeve together. That's, I want to cover up the side of my sleeve. So this is the inside, so I'll push everything inside. So first of all, what I want to do, I want to measure where my armhole, where the armhole will get to. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do, to make sure, and then I'll put a notch at that center so that I will know where to stitch. So this point now, just push all of the flounce, push everything inside, and then you use your sleeve measurement, that's the width of your sleeve measurement, to stitch it down like that to the end. So just use it to stitch it, and then after stitching it, you will fix it on the dress. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do at this point, just fix it. So after fixing, I'll show you guys how it looks. Okay, so at the end of the day, so you can see how it looks. So this is this side. So when you wear it, you use your hands to push it to stand the sleeve. So that is why it is, my mannequin does not have hands. So when you wear it, you just use your hands to arrange it, so let it stay straight. Okay, so at the end of the day, this is how it looks. So thank you so much guys for watching. If you find this video helpful, please hit on the like button. Thank you.